just in case you want to hear it. Um, okay. Yep. Okay, great. For those of you who want to shut this off, there's a mute button in the lower left of your Hotcom window, so you can just hit the mute and make the crazy lady go away. Anyway, this morning I learned something that I would just want everyone to know about. I don't know if you have it on the current on your current toolkit, but I did get some questions about it yesterday, so it may be on some current issue of the toolkit. But what we have here is in your workspace, there's a new workspace, and it says, one of them says CL data loading or data loading CL. These are incredibly nice gadgets for us. If you open your workspace on that, as soon as you're connected to data feed, it will load all your CL data tick by tick off of one chart with absolutely nothing on it, and then you close that and then open up your workspace, and your charts should should come right up with data already ready to rock and roll. And I would suggest when you do get that, you make one of those, just use the template for that thing and make it one for every one of the markets that you watch. I don't know about futures. I don't know about Forex pairs, but for the indices and the commodities and the currencies, if it's the straight up futures, it's very, very helpful. However, when you roll a contract, you need to go back to that data loader and make sure it is updated. I got in such a I got in such a hurry to load all of my charts and time and sales and everything to the October contract that I failed to notice that one tick data loading was on the expired month. So needless to say, I had a bit of a problem this morning. So that's my tip of the day. Anyway, this morning we have had the VIX open up. It has come through the 1636 is where I had kind of a double top and it bounced off of there, but it's coming up through there. If the VIX continues to rise, you're going to see these indices go down, and that has certainly been the case today. The currency traders have had a real nice morning this morning because, boy, it's the currencies across the board are going up. And both crude and gold are moving up with those currencies, and the dollar is moving down with the indices. So this is going to be an interesting next couple of weeks. For crude oil this morning, when we first started here, what was this, about overnight it barely moved, as you've already know that, I'm sure. But by the time, wait a second, that was yesterday, 8:20. Okay, it did not move a lot overnight, but starting about 4 o'clock this morning or 5 o'clock this morning, you could have caught a ride from the red ice line down to, remember this level I pointed out yesterday? It also happens to be the low of today at 40.50, and we also have a deviation level just right there at the same place. So that even became a more powerful place of support for this market today. When it came up from there, you had the opportunity to take a nice trade about 6 o'clock this morning. Of course, you have to have your computer turned on to do that. But for those who did, this was a really, really nice trade. From around 6 this morning, you could have taken it probably off the 6 tick would have given you something. The 12 tick with the trend catcher would have given you a confirmation on that. I'm quite sure. Yeah, right here at the deviation. The top of this bar right at the deviation. So I'll stick a little marker on here. There's one, unless you're a night owl. And once you're in this, then if you notice when it got to the red ice line, there is a considerable distance out to this MVP. So I know when you're trying to trade and oh my goodness, where's it going, and now I've got a profit and what am I going to do and whatever, try to pay attention to the likelihood this is going to keep going is relative most frequently to this distance in here. So once it pushed through there, then your next place, or if you got late, if you were here and wanted an entry, but there's nothing wrong with taking your profit right here at the open and wait a little bit. You've got profit you could have banked there, and there's nothing wrong with getting back in it. If you have more confidence, you might just, whoops, leave it on. We'll mark this. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, the high of today would have been right here. So now, once it gets there, then where will it go? And the wonderful thing about this trade is it got up here to the ice midline, and it got up to settlement. It cleared settlement. But I can tell you from trading oil for a while that this, were I in this trade, I would have taken my take profit at the top of this range channel. Yes, you could squeeze a few more ticks out of it, maybe to the bottom of this sell zone right here, but realistically, I wouldn't expect it to go too much more here before it backed off. So that would have been a wonderful trade and probably made your whole entire morning. This could have been taken again from settlement right here down to the open. I hope you're starting to get the hang of this, that these levels that we put on here are crude oil. The other markets I'm just not that familiar with, but they go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, and you have to just simply decide, is there enough potential reward for you to take these or not? That's really what it's all about. The bottom of this zone right here would have been a great place to take profit there, but there's nothing wrong with taking profit here either. And so now what we have is a green E, but it does not correspond to green apexes. So this is an E that's going to be considered an invalid trend entry. You can scalp it in both directions, doesn't matter. If you wanted to take, here's another place that you could have taken this from settlement, and with the idea that you were going to get out again right down here at the open. So that would have given you several trades. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, then what? Some of you are trying to catch on to this mountain business with this deviation, but this is really worth checking out right here. My, we have that kind of a wonderful color here. Get that to something civilized. But when this deviation mountain starts to go up and you're asking yourself, well, where will it end? Where will it end? Watch for this peak to hit and it will start down, and that will coincide with what's happening with these price bars. So this is a very nice run up. We still do not have a trend change because we don't have our apex patterns telling us that. We got another right after this one, we got a red E. So this is a bunch of indecision. The market's fiddling around here. The bus driver can't make up his mind which way he's going to go. But that doesn't mean you don't have some nice trades in here. It's a matter of figuring out your risk to reward, where your entry would be, and what the potential reward would be. This is also not going to be a valid E for a trend because it doesn't have, oh, whoops. Let's see here. We want to copy this and we want to paste it. I'm drawing these. Hopefully some of you will start to get the hang of marking up your own charts so you can see where some of these would have happened. If you wanted to take this, say from the top of this right here, the top of this institutional volume, this would have been a great place too. And you could take that on up here. I would be inclined probably to take my profit right up here, although if you monitor this very closely, the top of this would probably have been a good place to take your profit. So why are people buying crude oil today, Eric? They are rolling. They've got the contracts that they sold, the September contracts, and a lot of those people who roll crude oil contracts don't do it all at once in one whack. They will do it in lots over a period of 2 or 3 days. So the general trend has been up since this morning at 6:30. This 30-minute will give you a lot of information. I don't like these dojis up here. This is a signal of indecision. So we'll just see what happens. Sometimes monitoring these range channels on the 10-minute is very helpful too, to help develop your eye for the trades you want to stay in, and then the ones you want not so much. So tomorrow I'll be back at 2:30 and we'll see what the afternoon has brought us and kind of wrap up the day. The indices for the last couple hours have just been in a very close range, tight range. I don't know that some of these currencies have too much more to the upside. They've moved in some cases more than 1.5 deviations. The two failed E's again. Okay, the two failed E's. For an E in the apex system to be a valid apex, we wait for the second one of the color with a matching MVP. So this was the first one. This was number one right here. And we're waiting for a second one. But we need a matching MVP. We need it to be red. Well, we got up here and we got it red, but we don't have a matching MVP. The MVP here is green, and this, we'd need this. It's easier sometimes to see on this 10-minute too. But we need this to have a matching MVP, which it does not. So the other thing you can start to recognize is what the red E would be indicative of a downward trend, the southbound bus. And the bus clearly went above this E right here. I mean by a significant amount. So this, it's going to take a whole lot of selling to get another red E with a red MVP. And no, it does not have to come exactly, and often they won't. That's why when they do come at the very same time, it's really, really nice, because those are powerful signals. Let's see. We have another question. Is there a video gives how you're setting up and using the side charts? There is, to a minor extent, once we get this new toolkit rolled out. This is one of the biggest toolkit rollouts they've ever done. And when it is this much new stuff, there's a lot of little teeny weeny bugs that crop up at the last minute, and believe me, they're out in force with their raid and their orchid spray stuff, trying to kill all those things before they drive us all crazier than we already are. There is a little bit of that maybe for you, Art, in if you put how I find trades in my world in the website forum search, you'll get a post that I made with marked up charts. But once we get past this new rollout, then I'll probably make another post, and so people have a better idea of how to use these. Once this gets passed, we're also going to be doing some more of these Saturday morning traders helping traders, just kind of for the people who are interested, and we'll go back over some of the things that, you know, with a lot of helpful tips. So right this second, the answer to your question is no. But stay with it. It's on its way. Help is on the way. So I'll see you all in a couple hours, and happy trading till then. It looks like it's kind of slowed down. This is the time of day that at least that crude oil does, and the indices are going to have to come out of this little tight range to be doing anything much this afternoon. So I'll see you at 2:30. And this has been my view from my world at Apex Land.